Hey there, I'm your host, Ricky Shockley, and this is MedSpa Success Strategies, where MedSpa and aesthetics practice owners come to discover strategies and tactics that help them better market and manage their practices so they can grow, improve profitability, and have greater impact for their teams, their patients, and their communities. I'm excited to be joined again today by Haley Wood. Haley's a board-certified women's health nurse practitioner and the founder of The Look Aesthetics in Franklin, Tennessee. With over 17 years of experience, she's a nationally recognized trainer, speaker, and thought leader in the aesthetic space. She's been recognized for her achievements in a feature by Real Self as one of the top 25 most loved injectors, and she also provides coaching to aesthetics practice owners, sharing the skills, secrets, and strategies to scale your business through her venture, theaestheticcoach.com. All right, so for those of you who are watching, and if you've watched one of the previous episodes, you'll notice Haley and I are wearing our same outfits because we're recording the second episode right after the first. So this might come out with a little bit of a gap in between, but I wanted to go through a few rapid fire questions. And so these are things since last time we've talked, Haley, that have come up on maybe other interviews.
Okay.
And I like to now pick like a future guest brain and get their insights or opinions on some of these things. So if you have a tidbit of advice, these are hard questions that are like put you on the spot questions a little bit.
Okay.
So if you have anything, we'll skip them and go to the next one. Like
All
if you
right.
don't have anything that's...
To be fair, I've not heard any of these questions yet.
Yeah, we intentionally skipped them all. So, okay. The first one is the KPI. If a practice owner only had one financial metric on their dashboard every morning, what would that metric be? So if you could only look at one metric to assess the health of your practice or to make decisions around.
Retention analysis. Retention.
I thought you were going to say that, and I agree. I love that one.
Yeah.
We had a guest on recently, and she said when she's hiring that if it's not a hell yes, it's a no. So I wanted to ask you, your hiring filter, your single favorite interview question or tip for hiring.
On the first, like we do like a Zoom call or just like a verbal call, like a phone call. And we ask them, why do you want to work for The Look? Because then we know, have they done their research on looking at the website, why they want to be a part of our culture? And we've had some people who are like, I haven't looked at your website. Okay, well then bye. Like, like, I want to know that you've done something before you even show up for an interview, because that gives me a little bit of insight on how detailed you're going to be moving forward.
Yeah, I love that. So we talked a little bit about VIP experiences. What's an easy, low cost way to create a VIP experience for your clients?
So know who your top 20s are, and then take your sample products and, when they come in for like once a quarter, then give them 3 or 4 samples of products. Like it's a daily power from ZO, or it's like a skincare mask. So put like a little bag together for them so that they feel loved and they know they're acknowledged. And that's a great way to use your free samples. Like just don't hand those out, like have some purpose and intention behind those samples.
Yeah, make them feel like a gift instead of just tucking them in an envelope on the way out at the door.
Yes, yeah.
I always am hesitant to ask AI questions because I feel like if somebody's listening to this 3 months from now, this is going to be totally irrelevant. But AI or just general tech stack software, what's the one software tool I guess AI tool, if it has to be an AI tool, that you couldn't live without right now?
Claude. Hands down. I'm learning Claude better, but it's funny because we were working with I hired a copywriter and for our new website to, just to make sure the words are correct. And she threw out the word AEO. I'm like, what's AEO now? So that you want to so we have been intentional about thinking about AEO in our web page copy and our frame wires, just to make sure that we're hitting it on all cylinders. So Claude, I know Claude helps her with that. And she's actually lives in Spain. But she's been fantastic to work with. And so when I was looking at the new website wireframe today, I was like, did Emily write this? And they're like, she did. I'm like, okay, because that's good. It speaks the language.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, Claude's awesome. Everything that we do is like Google Apps, Google Workspace. I'm like, come on, Google, like, where's your version of this that's good enough to use? Because it seems like a pain in the butt to get everybody on Claude. But yeah, it's been very, very helpful for a lot of the stuff that we do too.
I like Claude for work, and I like Chat for like more personal stuff.
Yeah, ChatGPT.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to like Gemini, but it gives me the worst answers. I can just be totally biased.
I do play Claude against Chat to see who has the better answer. When it's work, it's always Claude.
Yeah.
But if it's personal, then I get a little bit more warm fuzzies from Chat.
Yeah, yeah. I saw something one time, and it was like I think it might have been like a social media reel, and it was asking your significant other if you'll let them look at your like Instagram messages, your text messages, and they're like, yeah, yeah, and then they get to like, can I see your AI chat history? And she throws the phone out the window. It is kind of scary how like much we're sharing with these AI tools in
I
some
know.
cases. I do the same thing. Consultation. So this is obviously a very important part of what med spas do, and developing the relationship, developing trust. If you had to pick an opening salvo, like the opening line of a consultation, what is your walk in the room opening line to a consult?
I'm
Then
glad
you,
you're here. Like, I'm so glad you're here. How'd you find me? And then we always finish it with a 6 month or like an annual calendar. So we have some branded calendars. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to see you this month. You'll be back for your follow up. We'll get your microneedling done this month. And then you're going to see Amy for this. So there's a plan in place. And I love to have a 12-month. If 6 months, okay, but 12 is even better. So walk in like, I'm so glad you're here. How'd you find me? To here's your total 12-month plan.
yeah, love that. Um, Protecting your team from toxic clients. How do you deal with a toxic client? And if you have to fire a client, what is that conversation like? What is that process?
So relevant because that just happened like in the last 4 to 8 weeks with us. Here's the thing, like I remember being in Dr. Moore's office I was a nurse practitioner in his plastic surgery, and people would be so ugly to me, but they would be so bright and cheery to him as soon as he walked in the door. And I never want that disparity to happen between the front desk staff and me, because they're be all kind to me and like, oh Haley, I'm so glad to see you, but then they just act like a jerk up front. That's not good to me. So I support my team in making the executive decision that if someone is completely rude to you, I want to have a conversation about, we don't make it easy for that patient to come back. And we recently had to fire someone, and it is not easy, but gosh, I learned this from Dr. Moore a long time ago. I'd rather see the back of their head once walking out the door than them face me 100 times coming in complaining,
Yeah.
right? So
Yep.
what does it take to, like, if you can make the patient happy and it's within reason, let's do it. But we just don't tolerate it. And there's no reason to being ugly or rude. And if you are, there's just not a place for this in the practice at all. So we let the patient know that we would no longer be a good fit for her. Our practice wouldn't be a good fit. And if she wanted us to send her, her medical records, we're happy to, facilitate that. Just give us a few days to make that happen. Then you got to worry about the Google reviews, the negativity on that. But hopefully you have enough in store to where, you have enough to like negate the bad one.
Yeah.
So they're going to happen. I mean, I think that
Yeah.
it just shows you are an authentic, because you can't make everyone happy, especially in the aesthetic world. But it's how you approach it. Like, don't don't take it personally. This isn't a good fit for the practice, and this is how we're going to handle it.
That's your secret language to tuck in your back pocket, everyone. Not a good fit. That's your kind way of firing a client right there. That's the catchphrase, not a good fit.
And I've had patients come in and like, you told me this and this didn't happen. And it's like, where did I miscommunicate this? But I'm like, I'm just not the best provider for you. So this isn't going to be a good fit or relationship moving forward. So let's just cut the cord. And it's
Yep.
so hard to have that conversation, but okay, it is what it is. But you got to have the confidence to be able to have that conversation.
Yep. And deal with whatever comes after it, like you said. Can't
Yeah.
operate from a place of fear all the time.
No.
Next question, the retail boost. How do you empower your providers to make sure that they're introducing and talking about product and supplements that might go along with a treatment plan, and that's not negated at the tail end of a consultation or treatment?
Yeah. So I think what's really important is you've got to know your patient before they walk in the door. And so you've got to go through, like, what services have they done in the last 6 months? What products have they bought in the last 6 months? And then what we do is we have a ticket for every patient and we highlight the products that they've purchased. And so then we have we already know, oh, you got daily power. Do you need a refresh on your daily power? So that has helped. But I think you just have to be in the mindset. You can't be transactional with just, I'm walking in with 20 units of Botox and then they're off and hopefully I see them in 3 or 4 months. Like, you've got to lead the conversation. And like summertime, are you on a good vitamin C? Hydrinity's, is my favorite one. So that's where you just got to be prepared and do your homework the day before on the patients coming in.
Today's episode is sponsored by Gloss Genius. Gaps in your schedule and patients who don't rebook, tight margins, high fees, and a clunky EMR holding it all together. Sound familiar? You'd love to be growing your practice, but you don't always have the time to figure out your right next move, let alone to sit down and eat lunch. That's why I want to tell you about Gloss Genius, the system more than 5,000 owners use to grow their practice in the background. Unlike others that take more effort on your end, Gloss Genius automatically fills your calendar by getting you more traffic, more reviews, and more online bookings. It finds hidden revenue for you using AI and auto sorts your treatment photos with a HIPAA-compliant EMR your team will actually enjoy using. And Gloss Genius's built-in point of sale doesn't just take payments, it earns you more every day. Rebooking patients at checkout, increasing what they're willing to spend, and saving you thousands with the lowest flat rate and zero hidden fees. Ready to earn more and take back your time with a software that does the work for you? Use code STRATEGIES at glossgenius.com/medspa success strategies for 50% off your first 2 months of any aesthetic practice plan. That's code STRATEGIES at glossgenius.com/medspa success strategies. Hey, practice owners and marketing directors, interrupting this episode to invite you to schedule a one-on-one strategy call with me to discuss how we might be able to improve and level up your digital marketing efforts. So we're rated 5 stars on Google. We're HIPAA verified by Compliancy Group, and we have a track record of taking clients from $30,000 a month to $120,000 a month and adding multi-millions of dollars in additional revenue for some of our bigger multi-location med spas from more effective marketing strategies. So on the free strategy call, it's really educational. I basically spend an hour going through detailed reviews of all of our best performing plays that we run for our clients. You have it to take and run with it if that's what you want to do. And if you think it might be a fit to work together, then we're excited about the possibility to partner with you. But if you're interested in better, more effective digital marketing solutions for your med spa, visit medspamagicmarketing.com. That's medspamagicmarketing.com to schedule your one-on-one strategy call with me. Best and worst marketing strategy that you've used in your time in practice?
I will say best has been hiring that fractional CMO. It's really helped me with strategy, helping with Kylie, helping her like have someone else to go to, and that's not all on her. Worst, just hiring a social media girl. That is probably the worst, is because it's not a one-hit wonder, and you just can't put all your eggs in one basket of social media. And so I think in the beginning, people want to hire a social media person because they hate doing it, but you got to think more global and more strategically. And so for me, we've had salaried full-time marketing coordinators, and they've been great, and they've looked at all different like YouTube and Insta and Facebook and print ads. But it really does take at some point having a strategist look at all of it and say, okay, what's working, and then give you some fresh ideas.
Yeah. And not doing unintentional social media, right? Just because someone knows how to like edit some clips together, that's not necessarily strategy.
Yeah.
Overhyped trend you see in the space right now, whether that's a specific treatment or a business trend?
Well, there's a certain platform out there that I see these influencers using, and it's like, well, we'll take care of all your HR. I don't know anything about it. I just am really curious because these influencers are going and having shopping days, and I'm probably going to get myself canceled for saying this.
It's all right. Any PR is good PR, right?
But I feel for those who are thinking, oh, that's the way I need to go because I really like this person and I want to be like them. So I'm going to do what they say. Like, use your brain, use your mind, and think, is this really where I need to go? So that stuff, and these social media influencers who, I don't know, like it's gone crazy. And I think there is more awareness on really behind the scenes, like who are they, like what are they doing behind the scenes. That's a trend that I think is probably not going to go anywhere, unfortunately, but hopefully people use their brains a little bit on who they follow.
Yeah, I'm sure. I think that evolved where people learn who they have a little bit more of a guard up on who to trust and why.
Yeah. And then I guess the best, for our practice, it's just been focusing on like on ablative lasers and really great skin health. I know I've got some friends who are going down the wellness path with the peptides and the red light therapy beds and the hyperbaric. I think it's great. I love it. We've kind of gone down the path of bringing in more lasers into our practice and focusing on skin health. So that trend of like ablative lasers, and like we brought the ultra clear in, that for me has been a good move.
I'm going to add an impromptu one. When it comes to a laser or a device, what is like your pass fail on whether that's a good addition to your practice or a bad? We might have touched on this on the last episode, but I feel like it's a good one to revisit if so.
Yeah, I think that what are you sending patients out for? So I know that we were sending a lot out for ultra clear or ablatives, and I can't say it's not 50% of what we do by any means,
Yeah.
but I found myself referring it out all the time and sending it out. So I was like, okay, we need to bring that into the practice. So our best hands-on workhorse in the practice is the Moxie BBL platform, hands
Yeah.
down. Mm-hmm.
And so if you're referring it out, it means it's inherently something you believe in. So like that's a pretty big filter then, is you have to believe in it. It's got to be something that you like, that you would do. It's not just you get like dollar signs in your eyes from a laser rep.
Yeah, and be sure, I've had some people call me and say, well, I bought this laser, but I can't even do this in my state. So
Yeah.
no, like
That's a
make
rough
sure
one.
you figure out from a legal point of view that you can actually, do it.
My note recap from our last call said that you mentioned Unreasonable Hospitality. Does that sound right? The
Yeah,
book?
that one and Crucial Conversations.
Oh, okay, that was going to be the question. What is another leadership book that you would recommend? So that is Crucial Conversations.
Crucial Conversations is really good. Yeah, that's where to have the emotional courage to have those hard conversations. And I think what we talked about in our last chat together was role playing with those who need to have those conversations, how you want those to be. And if you don't know, then role play together, or role play and with some, like a friend, say, okay, I want to have a conversation about this with a staff member. Here's how I would say it. How's that landing? How's that showing up? So yeah, Crucial Conversations.
Like when you stumble across something like that you really like Unreasonable Hospitality, Crucial Conversations, do you usually recommend or try to get your other people on your team, like your practice manager, to read those books? Or do you do like a recap or a brief to them of some sort?
What I have found is, like, even when I give dinner talks, I'm like, have you all read the book? I think it's called From Death to Beauty. It's about the toxin, like how toxins came. Nobody wants to read it. They want like the Cliff Notes version. So I'm like, put it into Claude, put it into ChatGPT. Like, what are the top 10 best points that you got from this book, or from this book, and then let them read that. So let them give a little homework. But that was always like my Claude homework, is like,
Yeah.
take this book, ask it what its 10 best practices are from this book, or what the top 10 things I would learn if I read this book, and see if it's something they really want to dive into.
Yeah, that's awesome. We do that too. We do like a Wednesday shares, and I'll do that if I've read a book. We'll throw it in AI and let it digest, and I'll just make the shell whatever the time allocation is. So if we have 20 minutes, it's give me the 20-minute version of an exercise and a walkthrough we could do. I love that. Like, so digest it for your team. Make sure they get the key points.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool. A daily habit. So what's one boundary or habit that you personally hold every single day to prevent burnout or overwhelming stress as a business owner?
Two things: prayer and then a sunset walk. I'm a big believer in prayer, and I have a strong relationship with Christ. And so that's always like my foundation, and like where I get started every day. And I'm always like, don't let there be any complications today. Like put a hedge of protection around this practice and the people that are in it. And then I love sunset's my favorite time of day. So I take my golden doodle, and then we just take a little quick spin around the block, and it just helps me decompress with no phones. I love going for like a 15-minute walk after dinner. That's my favorite time.
I love that. Two great answers. All right, last one for our rapid fire. If a med spa is having a slow cash flow month, what's the fastest, most effective lever to pull to get the little revenue boost? And I guess to do it in a way that's not at the expense of future revenue.
Yeah. I probably would do like an Instagram live and talk about something that you love in your practice, and say, if like, let's say microneedling, say, we have had some really great results with microneedling, and here's why, support it. And then say, we're going to do a webinar, or not, like just an Instagram live, and start feeding it like live. And I'm talking off cuff right now. I don't know if this would work or not, but
yeah, yeah.
And answer some questions, have some questions that people ask, answer those on the Instagram live, and then, lead up to the Instagram. So if you say, I'm going to do an Instagram on Thursday night about all things microneedling, then lead up to that. Say, okay, in 6 hours, we're going to be doing this Instagram live. And, you don't have to do any type of discounts. It's just, let me give you information, And if you want to do, say, hey, if you buy a package of 3, it's this, but if you buy a package of 4, you get another $50 off. Or, Skin Pin's doing the rebate right now. So something like that. That's probably what I would do.
Love it. We talked about hiring. What about firing? So when do you know it's time to fire somebody? We talked earlier in our full episode about the difference between an A- and an A+ talent, trying to coach and guide people up. But when your business relies on, hey, I need this person to be an A+, I need them to be the kind of person that can hit an 85% retention rate. At what point, I guess, do you come to the realization that they might not just be capable of that? And how do you handle that conversation if and when it arises?
You always know when to fire someone. Like your gut always knows. It's just, when do you want to do it? And most people spend way too much time not doing it effectively or doing it when it needs to be done. So I think there's always a process. And if, we're going to have a one-on-one, we're going to talk about it, then we're going to have like a verbal and a written warning, and then we'll try to get to the PIP, a 30-day PIP. But like, like it's coming. And so if you get to that PIP process, then I've done so much coaching. It's up on them to like make the changes that need to happen. And if you can't, I've done all I can, but this should not be a surprise. And at that point, you're like, this just isn't a good fit for the practice any longer. We tried, we talked about this, but there's just something that's not working. And so this is what the practice needs, and it's not a good fit. So today's your last day. Like, it has to happen. And if your manager or if you're the one doing it, like, role play it, say it out loud, but you can't apologize for what the standard is that you need. And you've got to know what that standard is. And it's hard. It's never easy letting someone go or having someone resign, because you put a lot into them. But one thing we do is I hate calling it, because Andrea calls it something else. I can't remember what she calls it. It's like a probationary period, the first 3 months. So the first 3 months are trying to figure out, are we a good fit? And at the end of 3 months, like if it's not working for you or working for me, we will part ways. And so it kind of gives you a little bit of an out to say, we tried, we worked on things, and it gives you like month after month coaching. But if it's just not a good fit, it's not a good fit. So don't belabor it. Just cut it and go on.
Yeah. And the probation period is great because, like you said, it doesn't have to be. Sometimes we feel like when if we have to fire somebody, it's because they did something overtly wrong. And not the probation period allows us to just go, hey, it's just not a good enough fit. It's not the hell yes that we're looking for in the role.
Yeah. It could be personality. It could be showing up. It could be the way they talk to the patients. It could be a host of things,
Yeah.
But when it's not a good fit. Like, there are always signs. There's just something there that this isn't going to be long term.
Yep, for sure. So as a coach, last question for today. I don't know if I already said last question. This is actually my last question. I think I added 3 times. I think you keep looking at my questions and I have more. So this will be my actual last one for today. So speaking and talking to other practice owners, what do you feel like is the difference between practices that are succeeding and thriving and they have a healthy EBITDA numbers, they've got a good reputation, versus the practices that just always seem to struggle? Is there some sort of common fault of leadership? So if you're doing coaching, you see those certain people, you're like, they've got it, they're going to do it. And those other people are like, I worry about this person. What are those character traits typically?
Yeah, I've worked with both. I've worked with a gal in Delaware. That girl she is going for it. She's just someone who listens and then applies it. And she's willing to take some risk, like some big risk. And not everybody's willing to do that. The ones who struggle are the ones who, honestly, it's not really the ones I've seen struggle are the ones who are really torn between raising a young family and then trying to go their practice, or trying to do both. And you have to decide, like, it's hard to do both, but boundaries. I'm going to work on my practice from 8 to 4, and I'm going to leave. I'm going to be a mom from 8 to the rest of the night. That's where I see the biggest struggle. They're good at what they do. It's not a technique issue. It's trying to manage it all and grow and still raise a really young family. That's tough.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Haley, thank you so much again. That was the end of my rapid fire segment. I want to make sure that we have all of everything in the show notes again. So can you let everybody know where they can find you, the practice, your coaching website? I want to make sure all of those things are in the show notes for people to find on YouTube and the podcast.
Yeah. So the practice website is The Look Aesthetics, and we're based in Franklin, Tennessee. And then my coaching website is theaestheticcoach.com, and that's going to go live this week.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Haley. Thank you again. And we look forward to having you on in the near future.
Thanks, Ricky. I appreciate it.
Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. This podcast is a production of Med Spa Magic Marketing. If your med spa or aesthetic practice is in need of digital marketing services, help with advertising on Facebook, Instagram, Google, lead generation, and booking more appointments, please visit medspamagicmarketing.com.